we've got please. We need to bring that one up as big as we've got this other one here. And we've got basically the same relative relation between the letters within range or variation. Let's go with one with a lowercase. We have the A-S-E lining up perfect. The E seems to be in place even though there is a gap between the E and the A here. Our L is dead on with our P bowl fitting right within range. Slants a little off on the P, but everything else is right there. Then of course we've got phone. No surprise again. P-H-O-N-N-E. Right in range. Both authors tend to spell a word one way in a communication, and within a few lines they spell it a completely different way. We can see it occurring in alternator with an A and alternator with an E, recirculation with an I or with a U. They both definitely have a double letter spelling error, which they will either omit where a second letter belongs, as here in controller, or they will add an extra letter where it doesn't belong, as we see here in control. And again, it's an issue where we've spelled control correctly on one line but incorrectly on another. Center here spelled with an A, here it's spelled with an E. Buttons with two T's and without a T. Jack also is known for using several different names just in his own personal handwriting, from John Tarrance to Jack Tarrance to J.W. Tarrance, J.W. Barnett. He has many, many variations of his name. More words we have here. This one's a little faint, but this is age out of the Zodiac, and basically just to prove a point that things are lining up, going in the same direction, and doing the same things between little words as well as larger words such as motor. That's excellent. Just beautiful the way those line up. Perfect. We've got the word with, where both the Zodiac and Jack use a connection between the T and the H, and the laziness and drag from the I to the T causes a 7 or a crossed 7 effect that you can find occurring in both authors' writing. Children, of course, we have this one that's slanted a little bit to the right, but what we're checking out here is that the C is within the C range, the H, I, L. The D is slanted backwards, albeit it still starts at the same point right there as the D in the Zodiacs. The R and the EN become more on point when shifted just slightly to the left, so they are spacing and lining up correctly as well. Let's see if that one's about the same size. We need to bring it up. There we go. And again, we have everything laying down very nicely right there. Our EN is in place where we would expect it to be. CHILD. Just have to keep showing these ones over and over again because they're large words and we have things lining up. Both authors use similar acronyms when they write. This is from the Red Phantom letter. You bring that up over the top of HP from Jack's reports, and you have a perfect lineup not only of where these capital letters were placed in relations to each other, but also the period dots that are with them line up perfectly on point. Of course, these ones are spaced beautifully apart, starting in the same exact positions. Period dots are slightly off in this, but that's just beautiful. I couldn't ask for a better lineup of 4 different characters. Both authors like to use etc. in their writing. This happened in one single 5x7 communication from Jack. But again, what we find is that when we lay things down over the top of each other, they're right where they need to be. The spacing is perfect. Even if you were to use this in regards to cursive, the E still starts where the E starts, the T starts where the T starts, and the C starts where the C starts. Both authors also use NO to describe number instead of a number sign or writing out the word number, so they used number 9 in the Zodiac communication to indicate the next victim number, and Jack in his own writing used model number NO and phone number NO to indicate number as what he was intending. More spacing of more words. We've got system. Again, nice, beautiful match, lining up right over the top. Got RAM, comparison to some, the A and the M. Again, smaller words, but still, we've got power. Lines up, beautiful. Adapted. Up in relative size. Bring it down over the top, and again we have adapt, ADAPT, lining up there. Check. HECK, pretty nice lineup. Killed. While the slant on the Zodiacs is more to the right. Let's see if we can find one more upright. There we go. Nice lineup. Clean on the bottom. They're all starting in the same place. Other. Ooh, looks like you're a little big. There we go. OTHER. OTHER. Perfect. Time, TIME, again, another nice lineup and spacing. Light. Because We have a lineup with the C-A-U-S-E in this. The B, of course, was broken up, and it's the only one I could find in Jack's writing, but every other part of that lines up nicely. Properly, as in you should have been checking the part properly. You would have had me. Proper lines up, P-R-O-P-E-R, all the way down. L-Y, shift to the right just a little bit. Our L-Ys are spaced nicely between both authors. Both authors use some serious amount of hyphenation. They use it mid-sentence, they use it at the end of the word, they incorrectly hyphen when it's not necessary. They hyphenate a word without using the hyphen, so you're just expected to follow back down around to the next line. You can see that here where he hyphenates at the end of the sentence, yes, with a hyphen, next line, today, and then of course he hyphenates to begin a whole new topic in mid-sentence, and here he did the same thing. He's breaking and starting to use a completely new topic. We see a bunch of the hyphenations down here, and of course where I discussed he didn't need to hyphenate just the ly, but he chose to do so and used a hyphen. Zodiac does exactly the same thing as Jack. We find many in-sentence hyphenations, end of sentence hyphenations, hyphenations without a hyphen being used, many of these all the way through, all the way down. I noticed that both Jack and the Zodiac used a backwards 3E when abbreviating the word electric, and quite frankly, when I lay that over the top of each of these, we have again what I consider to be a pretty nice, perfect matchup of these two words here. Even though it was written bigger, here's a lowercase version, again, E-L-E-C-T. The T is slightly moved over, the T and the R are spaced perfectly together. We also have the word electric to do a comparison with electric from Jack's. Let's see if we can bring this to where it needs to be. Bring it out as long as the Zodiac's, and the reason why I'm doing this, or bringing the Zodiacs out as long as Jack's, is because by the time you bring them up to an equivalent size, they should be about the same size and height and shape, and then the spacing, if it's not the same person, we won't see it line up like that we're seeing right there. That's an excellent lineup of all of the letters in the word electric. The word blue, as in blue meanies, again, perfect. Perfect on every single account. The word copper is another one of those big ones. We can see that that lines up beautifully right over the top of Jack's letters. In the date section, I have used August from the Zodiac side to lay over the top of August from Jack's side. Again, not a shock, only 3 letters, but they line up. The space between the A and the U are relative to one another, as far as the space between the U and the G as well. 1974